We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Real Estate, hosted by the Bearded Men of Real Estate. Thank you guys for joining us on a special late edition. For for you, Dan, this is about the time that I have the show Central Time. You're experiencing the around lunchtime show for the first time.
Yeah, and the unexpected things come up. Now I'm like, wait, my day's later now. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that weird? So no, thank you guys for bearing with us. I actually had a call with Chelsea, and I'll link it up in my Instagram profile too. But I got to visit with Fairway Mortgage and in one of their calls, so it was a fun event. So appreciate you guys joining us late. We're broadcasting in 3 locations right now: Clubhouse, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're following us along or following us along, if you're following along with us in one of those locations, you can comment on it, and then we can talk about you or your comment. Just like Matt Lamarche did. He said first on YouTube again, he said, "What in tarnation is going on today?" This is why the late start. So
you know what?
She's in there in the chat. What's up, Melissa?
You know, I can tell you, Matt, I can tell you for sure, because I don't know what's going on in real estate. We're going to learn right now. We're all going to learn what's going on in real estate together right now. But what I can confirm is that Matt's short game is horrible still.
Nothing. The only game Matt's got is short game. What? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Love you.
If you're following along in Clubhouse, I'm going to turn you up, Dan. If you're following along in Clubhouse, be sure that you hit the little green house at the very top of that. Follow along with the club. There's a bunch of great rooms, specifically this one, but also there's one by Justin Conoco on Tuesdays about 12 o'clock Central Time. It's called Practical and Tactical. So if you don't want to miss some of those clubs, some of those opportunities to network with other great real estate agents and to learn of what some of the best practices are in the world, then be sure you're following the club. On YouTube, if you're on the YouTubes, please hit the subscribe button, because we're trying to get that subscriber count up there so that we can do some fun stuff here in the future. So there's a good chance, and Dan, we got to figure this out, but there's a good chance that there will be some other channels started soon because of how the YouTube algorithm is working, based on what I learned from this book. Then that's why I'm doing the book club. Phenomenal. I mean, I'm learning so much.
I already have one of the channels started.
Yeah.
It will have an Instagram page to go with it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Dan.
Yeah.
What's been going on with you, dude? Or did you have a clinic today? Did you have the softball clinic?
Yeah, this is our last one, high school. So for those of you who don't know, or you're just new to the show, first of all, go subscribe to our YouTube channel and put the bell on. That's the first thing you're gonna do.
Oh yeah, ring that bell.
Yeah. So if you don't know, I am a high school softball coach. I coach at a varsity at our local one of our local high schools here, and we had we do summer workouts, kind of like a clinic. We used to do 5 of them, so those are ended. Now it's last. This was the last one today, and then we'll start school in a couple weeks. Then a couple weeks after that, we have our actual tryouts. So yeah, good times.
Welcome back to the wonderful world of real estate, sir.
Yeah.
Speaking of, a lot of stuff happening. Apparently something is in my throat and it's making me cough a lot, so I'm hitting the cough button a lot. Hang on.
You have the cough button. But yeah, real estate's getting hammered, Ray. If you want to show them our thumbnails.
Oh my gosh.
Our thumbnails are brilliant, by the way. I mean,
they don't work for YouTube, but they're brilliant. And fun.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing, but YouTube hates them, I guess, whatever.
For the audio and for the audio listeners, podcast listeners, it is a picture of Thor and Mrs. Thor. What's Mrs. Thor's real name?
Natalie Portman. Oh no, Jane.
I don't know her real name.
Natalie Portman is the actress, but then Jane is the character's name.
So then we put our faces on it. Bam. And the YouTube text is housing is hammered. Get it?
Oh wait, if this is the new Thor, I haven't seen it, so I don't know who that is. Oh, I think I know.
Yeah, this is like Thunder and Love or something like that.
Yeah, Love and Thunder.
Sounds like a different type of show.
Yeah, what kind of show is this?
What kind of show is this?
Oh, we haven't seen him in a while. Man, I gotta get some water.
All right,
Just
don't worry about it.
stretch.
There you go. Jane Foster. Jane Foster. Yeah. Well, here, Ray, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell everyone what the show is about. Okay. So when Ray and I met here on the interwebs, for the audio listeners, he gave me a thumbs up. We met 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't even know. It's been a while. We met in a kind of real estate meme page, and Ray and I were subtly trolling the group together and realized that we had a lot in common because of that. And we're both very good at the subtle trolls, the long place trolls. But when I met Ray, I noticed something very interesting about him that's still happening today.
What's that?
Ray is currently doing, and this is our weekly checkup, Ray is currently doing 90 videos, specifically TikTok, in 30 days. And on top of that, 75 hard. So Ray, what's going on? Update us. How's that going, buddy?
I'm still 75 harding.
Can
that be a verb? Which is
I
why
don't
I'm
know.
drinking out of this. This is my half-gallon jug of water.
I think the 75 harding is jacking with your voice.
No, so this is part of 75 hard. Is I had to, like, between these calls, I grabbed like a handful of nuts and berries. It's like eating it so fast I started coughing. So I think that's what's jacked me up. But no, sorry. The TikTok 90 in 30 is like failing miserably.
It's intense. Now wait, you're not doing enough content, or you're not getting the response you want?
I'm not doing enough content. The response has been moderate. I'm definitely not putting out enough articles.
But at a minimum, though, because, dude, that's 3 new videos a day. And I don't care if they're 15 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever you can do, 10 minutes, whatever. That's a lot of content. And that's a very ambitious goal. So even if you fall short and do 60 and 30, that's pretty legit.
It's not bad, but it's so ambitious that you wind up like dancing on TikTok.
I know. Ray reached out. He's like, hey, did you see the one where I was dancing? I go, Ray, buddy, I'm sorry. I didn't get past the dancing. But I did. I went back and watched it. And he's like,
surprise in the middle. It's good.
There's a surprise in the middle. And he's like, all right, back to the TikTok dance now.
It's so funny. I'm having fun with it, though. That's what matters.
Which is, I think it's a good goal. I think it's a good end game. At a minimum, you end up with a bunch of new content, and hopefully, because who was it on here? Was it Malarsh that said he did a bunch of new videos and he got like 1,000 new followers in a month? That's pretty legit. I feel like
he's TikTok famous.
Followers are easier to come by on the TikToks than like the YouTubes and stuff, but that's still a legit jump, especially when you're trying to get business from it.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
I can read the articles.
It's gonna be a long show. I don't know what the deal is. It's so funny.
This is making me laugh. I don't think it's funny, but it's funny. Yeah,
we're out of cost drops.
What, Matt? You're TikTok famous. Is that bad? Is that an insult?
I think you said it was easy.
Oh yeah. I didn't say easy. I said easier than like YouTube or Instagram, because they're just followers. Like,
right.
No one cares.
This is karma, he said.
I know. I also have a reel on Instagram that's taking off, by the way. So,
because I posted it.
Yeah, it wasn't doing anything until I invited Ray as a collaborator, and then it took off.
No, it was already doing good. All right. Well, anyway, back to why we do this show.
Yeah, there you go. Deborah Smallwood on Clubhouse says it's Lady Thor.
That's
her
creative.
Name. I think she's being facetious. I think, but that would be funny if that's really. They're like Thor, girl Thor. There you go. Boom, new character.
I can't call her girl. You got to call her lady.
Lady, woman Thor.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, Lady Thor.
But I digress. Ray's going to tell you how to skip all this banter if you hate the banter. But no, when I met Ray, he wasn't doing the 75 hard. He hadn't even started CrossFit yet. But when I met him, I obviously noticed he's a beautifully bearded man. But what I also noticed that he loves giving value up front to not only his clients, but just to humans in general. So the show is about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
Yep.
She Thor.
That's it.
Yeah, realtors are dumb one. Yeah, that one, buddy.
That's what he said. Well, you should Provide context for the audio listeners.
Yeah, don't just say realtors are dumb.
That's right. I'm talking to you.
There's so much hate against realtors. I made a reel to stop the hate.
God. I'm still coughing. I just did an hour-long thing without coughing once. I don't know what's going on.
But now you go live on all these different
Right when we go
areas.
live,
all these
nuts in my
different
throat.
venues. Hey, we should start the show. Kidding.
Oh, that's so funny.
Getting a little dry.
We do have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about what we normally talk about. Rates, and sensational headlines, depressed builders, what the Fed's going to do. What the Fed?
What the Fed? What are they going to do?
And is your technology exposing you as a real estate agent to a cyber attack?
That cough button won't work enough today, dude.
I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to like locate a cough drop. Stupid.
FYI,
This is
guys,
still
if
live.
my camera falls over, my cats are in the middle of an epic fight. So wish me luck.
All right, sorry guys. I'll try to get right. My bad.
Yeah, welcome to the
a
nut.
terrible show. Who starts a show like this? Who does this?
Well, just
I was
watch
just
it.
like really professional for an hour and a half. Now I look like an amateur hour.
Hey, we've also been professional for what are we on? 200 episodes yet? 190?
195 episodes.
195 episodes. We've been professional for. Well, I would say 175 of those. Yeah, see?
That's right.
So we've earned the right to take a day off. And by the way, watch this one get 10,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
I cracked
we're
myself
playing the
up with
shots
my own
game.
laugh track.
Actually, no, Matt. It's yeah, Matt loves the banter, but no, Matt. It's actually every time Ray coughs, you got to take a shot.
Y'all be drunk by now.
You guys are gonna be hammered.
All right, I'm gonna let Dan read the articles.
I can. Did you show him our thumbnail? Can you bring it up or no?
Yeah, I showed him.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Thor and Lady Thor.
Thor and Lady Thor. I'm Lady Thor.
I know. I was. Can you show him? I'll read him. I'll read the first one if you want.
Oh well, we got to do the whole thing.
Oh yeah, sorry, dude. It's weird. It's so weird to start. Like I'm not on, dude. It's
Slay.
an
It's a
hour and
bad
half.
omen.
Usually we're ending the show right now, and now we're just starting it. I'm off. Yeah, Matt's hammered. I'm not. I should be. But yeah, let's do the thing.
Here we go.
What was that?
What? It's a new sound effect.
What was that? That was
It was a sad trombone. You've never heard of a sad trombone?
Do it again.
I got a whole new slate, man.
Man, this is good. It's never. Well, I guess it is 1:30 when we're late. We're usually late. We're supposed to start at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's what we're supposed to start at. But you know,
someone in the comments said you sound like an owl.
Who?
Such a good one. All right.
Oh yeah. All right. Are you gonna try to get through it? You want me to read it?
No, you're gonna have to.
All right.
Have small spurts.
All right.
Well, wait, it's not loading yet. Hang on.
All right. I'm working with you. There we go.
You have to wait till the very professional transition. Guys, we're gonna get into these stories. Hang on there.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Don't make fun of ill people. Why is it not loading? All right, here it goes. Finally. Sorry. It wasn't loading the thing that I have to do to share the screen.
And then transition.
Oh yeah. This part too. Sorry, it's terrible. Just shut up.
This is the best. This is the best. June home sales fall 5.4% from May as prices set yet another record. Wait. Home sales fall, but prices set yet another record. So that must mean I'm going to predict what this article is going to talk about. That there's not enough inventory. How can we crash if there's not enough inventory, right? All right. So sales of previously owned home. And by the way, this article is from CNBC.com. Sales of previously owned homes in June fell 5.4% from May, according to a monthly report from the National Association of Realtors, as prices set records and rates surged. The sales count declined to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of 5.12 million units last month, the group said. Sales were 14.2% lower compared with June 2021. This is the slowest sales pace since the same month in 2020, when sales dropped very briefly at the start of the Rona. You can't say that C word there. When they dropped very briefly at the start of the Rona, the pandy. Outside of that, it is the slowest pace since January 2019, when we're in more of a normalized market, and below the annual 2019 total pre-pandy. These numbers are based on home closings, so the contracts were likely signed in April and May, before the average rate on the 30-year fixed mortgage shot above 6%, and as inflation was surging towards rates not seen since early 1980s. So, Ray, I want to go back. So that paragraph says this is the slowest sales pace since the same month in 2020, and then going back to 2019. Doesn't that straight up point us to we're just normalizing?
Normalizing.
Like there's not a dog sitting in a house burning. Isn't it just normal? This is just, hey, that last 2 years was crazy, right? It was a really weird blip, but now we're back to normal. Isn't that all this means?
Yeah, it seems like we're returning to a previously normalized economy. Well, maybe not economy, but housing market.
Yeah, and then inflation is nuts right now, but even that came back. Gas prices are now down $1 from where they were a little while ago, for me anyway, here in California.
And we have some news coming on mortgage rates and stuff like that in a minute, but I think a lot of it could be due to that. It could be it's not due to inventory. I think we've discovered that, because inventory is now increasing. That was a hypothesis for a long time, is that if only there were more houses, there'd be more solds. Well, if only there were more affordable houses, there'd be more solds.
Well, and there's also not enough inventory. We kind of ranted on this last week, and we're below 2010 levels. I mean, we're way behind on inventory.
But there's still houses now starting to sit for a week or two.
Yeah. Yeah, we had one. My broker just told us a story. He had 3 listings from, we'll go back 2 weeks. 2 sellers listened and 1 seller didn't. The 2 sellers were in escrow with multiple offers above asking after the weekend. The one that didn't, that overpriced the home, sat and had no showings for 10 days and then canceled because, but yeah, it feels like a more normalized market, a more, and I get a lot of buyers calling me going, kind of freaking out. Rates are high. Is it a good time to buy? What do I do? And I said, well, it's a really great time to buy. There's lots of houses sitting right now, so you can probably get yourself a deal. And they're like, yeah, but I'm seeing price drops. Doesn't that mean the market's going to crash? No, that just means those asking prices are coming down, not the value of the homes.
Yeah, everybody's still expecting home values to increase. So
just slowly and more normally. Let's see. This is a quote. It's not a good quote, though.
Yeah, I got him on the other one.
Do you? I don't know. I'm going to skip that one. It's very.
Yeah.
Lawrence Yun is all right, but sometimes a little clickbaity.
Well, he's going to be talking about mortgages in a minute.
Okay, so there were 1.26 million homes for sale at the end of June, which don't we need 3.5 million, Ray? 4 million to be normal? Like, isn't?
Yeah, I mean, there were still backed up on inventory, but a lot of economists think that inventory is going to start working itself through the economy as more homes are finished because of the lag of, products and stuff like that they've been waiting on. But it's kind of like a wait and see. I think, everybody's kind of looking and saying, what's going to happen now? Because they haven't seen rates do this in a long time.
Yeah, in 10, 11 years. So that 1.26 million, that is an increase of 2.4% from the previous June, and the first year-over-year gain in 3 years. The current sales pace inventory now stands at a 3-month supply, which, remember, this is national, because we're over a month now in my area in Southern California, but I think there's some areas that are sitting at a 4 to 6 month supply, to average that out. That is still considered low. It is low, but improving. Supply is increasing, both because more sellers are trying to take advantage of perhaps the last of the red hot Rona-induced housing boom, and because homes are now sitting on the market longer. The still tight supply, however, is keeping the heat under home prices. The median price of an existing home sold in June set yet another record at $416,000, an increase of 13.4% year over year, which that is moderating too, because these increases were 17%, 19%, and now it's only, I'll say, quote unquote, only 13.4%. I'm going to hit one more number and then I'll get to that second. Is this? No, that's Daniel Hale. So let me hit one more. So activity continues to be stronger on the higher end of the market where there's more supply. Sales of homes priced between $100,000 and $250,000, for example, were 31% lower annually, while sales of homes priced between $750,000 and $1 million increased by 6%. Sales of homes priced over $1 million rose 2%. That's really interesting to me. Yeah, the upper end, I'm still going to say and guess that that's because there's just not enough inventory in that lower third. If there was plenty of inventory, and I mean, houses would be picked up quickly by all different types of buyers.
Yeah, it seems the lower third is still struggling.
Yeah, then,
Dusty made a comment.
Go for it.
They said saying the listing that's overpriced, where I've said would have 5 offers in the first weekend. The guy who is overpriced creeping on 2 weeks on the market, and no one has shown the open house
since the open house.
Listing the listing that priced where I said, okay, I got it.
Yeah, remember
the listing who priced where she said has 5 offers first weekend.
Yeah, she mentioned these a week or 2 or 3 ago. She said she had listings coming up, and I think she straight up said it'll be interesting because here's what's going to happen, and now it's happening.
She's like a fortune teller.
She is. Interesting that we have a lot of top quality agents watching our show. Let's see. While sales are falling, the market is still incredibly fast. The average time a home spent on the market was 14 days, which is still a record low. This is head scratching. This is a quote from Lawrence Yoon. This is head scratching number given slower sales. People are trying to take advantage of their interest rate lock. That may explain why the days on the markets are so swift.
I don't know. This is the part where I said everyone's like kind of wait and see.
Yeah,
but there's mixed signals right now in the market. We know the economy's been hammered by, whatever's going on with inflation and all that stuff. Has housing also been hammered? We don't know. Basically, everybody is like, well, let's see what happens.
Good thing Thor released a new movie, so we can have our thumbnail for today.
We need a distraction.
To finish it off, so sales will likely fall more sharply in the coming months as more recent indicators point to a much weaker buyer demand. Mortgage applications. Do we have another article on that? They fell to a 22-year low last week.
Yeah, here, let me go ahead and go to that one now. Already got it pulled up and everything.
Nice, dude. It took us a minute, but we're all right. We're all right. Are you good? You want to read?
No, go ahead.
So mortgage demand drops to a 22-year low as higher interest rates and inflation crush. Come on, guys. Crush home buyers. Really? Are they crushing home buyers? Because I said it last week. I have more and more buyers coming out of the woodwork right now that aren't being crushed. Jeez. And this
is crawling out of the woodwork because they have been crushed. That's why they're crawling.
They've been crushed and now they're crawling out of the woodwork.
They would have just walked out of the woodwork.
Oh, that's interesting. You got to keep me focused, by the way. Ray is very focused. I'm not, so I'll read all the extra headlines that are on there.
You read this. You're reading the trending panel.
Yeah, the trending panel, the breaking at the top. But CNBC.com has this article as well, and it starts off with the pain in the mortgage market is only getting worse as higher interest rates and inflation hammer American consumers. By the way, when I get these new buyers coming out and want to look at properties, they're not like they don't start off with, I know interest rates are higher, but I have to buy. They're just like, hey, I'm ready to, get pre-approved. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what my monthly payment would be on, this X priced home. I mean, it just isn't as bad as what these articles come up with. Mortgage demand fell more than 6% last week compared to the previous week, hitting the lowest level since 2000, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index. Applications for a mortgage to purchase a home dropped 7% for the week and were 19% lower than the same week in 2021. I mean, interest rates are 3% lower as well. Buyers have been contending with high prices all year, but with rates almost double what they were in January, they've lost considerable purchasing power. This is a quote from, Ray, you get to do it. This is a quote from Joel Kahn. Purchase activity declined for both conventional and government loans as the weakening economic outlook, high inflation, and persistent affordability challenges are impacting buyer demand. And Kahn is an economist for the MBA. It's interesting. Sometimes they give his whole title, and sometimes they just say he's an economist for the MBA.
Sometimes they shorten it. Wait. Oh, your thing messed it.
Oh, my bad.
So this is what I thought about was interesting to this. The purchase activity declined for both conventional and government loans. Previously, the purchase activity has been declining for conventional but not government loans, or the application volume. So it's interesting to see that they both went down. And then it said, what was the purchase application? The applications to buy a home, refinances were
mortgage to purchase a home. It dropped 7%.
Yeah, it dropped 7%. So that's one of the higher drops that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, 19%. And we're seeing a lot more of those where it's like it's a big drop.
I would expect
a double-digit drop.
I thought it would be much lower than last year, but I think there was a time where we kind of went through a lull last year where everyone's like, well, maybe it's over, and then the next month it was like, apparently that was seasonal. So
and
I'm kind of shocked that it's only 19% lower compared to a year ago. I thought it would be more.
The average contract, let's see. Oh, no, sorry. While buyers are less affected by weekly moves in interest rates, the broader picture of rising rates has already taken its toll. Mortgage rates moved higher again last week after falling slightly over the past 2 weeks. They actually dropped quite a bit. The average contract interest rate for 30-year fixed rate mortgages with conforming loan balances, which is $647,000 and change, increased to 5.82% from 5.74%, blah, 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 with points. Anyway. The rate was 3.11% the same week 1 year ago. So just over 3%. And now they're at almost 6%. So, but you see less buyer demand and more inventory coming on helps things cool a little bit, which is because there's just no way it could stay that red hot I think 2 years was too long. I mean, I don't think it can stay that hot for any longer. It needs to cool.
Yeah.
Demand for refinances, I think we all know, which are highly rate sensitive, fell 4% for the week and were 80% lower. There you go. There's your big number, Ray. 80% lower than the same week last year. Those applications are also at a 22-year low, but the drop in demand from home buyers caused the refinance share of mortgage activity to increase to 31.4% of total applications from 30.8%. Let's see. Mortgage interest rates haven't moved much this week, but that could change very soon due to increasing bond market volatility. The Federal Reserve is expected to hike rates by another 75 basis points next week. So we're going to have to watch for that. And other central banks are taking similar action against inflation. A basis point equals. So there you go. A basis point equals 0.01%.
I think it gave the Fed more confidence to do that when they saw Canada do 100-point increase.
A full percent, right?
Yeah.
So let's see.
The article we got 5.
Huh?
I was just going to bring up the comments here.
One more quote from Matthew Graham, who is Chief Operating Officer of Mortgage News Daily. He says, "This is especially true next week as markets digest the newest Fed policy announcement next Wednesday." So they'll do it right when we're in the middle of the show. But Thursday's policy announcement from the European Central Bank could also cause enough of a stir to impact U.S. rates. So expect them to go higher next week.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who's Jennifer Affleck?
We have so many people on the Clubhouse stage, but half of them are on the phone. I was gonna go to Clubhouse, see if anybody's got any comments on what they're experiencing, but let's just wait. I think this next one's gonna be interesting to dive into. So let's talk for a minute about Redfin. This one we're gonna have to watch and listen together. So this is an interview with Redfin on CNBC. I'm gonna play it. Hopefully we don't get a takedown notice. We are adding commentary to it, so it should be fair use. But let's listen. Let's listen to this short interview, and we'll interrupt it and talk about it as we're going through. But this is the Redfin CEO. If y'all can't hear it, let me know. Oh, we'll probably have to watch an ad first.
Glenn, give me your take. What does a
Can you hear
balanced market look like?
We can hear-
Should it be seen
Perfect.
as a positive?
I can't. Why? Hang on. How come y'all can hear it, but I can't hear it? Hang on.
It sounds great to me. So
All
I don't know how
right,
it sounds on the YouTubes and the.
Oh, that's because it was playing. Zoom is like, I was just on the Zoom. It totally takes over everything. All right, let's try it again. Now I can hear it.
Well, at least for home buyers, it is. In America, we worry about the price of gas and bread and everything except housing. When home prices go down, it's a calamity.
I don't have any problem with that he said right there. That is exactly what happens, is it not?
Yeah.
When home prices start to go down, it is calamity. Otherwise, bread and milk and everything else adjust, and people are like, meh. All right, I'll continue. Oh, man.
But this will let more people own a home. Rents have been going through the roof. Home prices have been rising at unsustainable levels. I think a return to normalcy, where we have 3 to 6 months of housing supply, is actually a good thing.
Okay, would you agree, Dan?
100%. And he's so soothing. I don't think I've ever actually heard him speak. We've read a lot of quotes from him, but his voice is actually a good thing.
You're
He's
actually
very-
taking the opposite right now so far. You're taking the opposite stance of our good friend Christina M. Smallhorn. She can't stand the guy and hates his voice. It's really funny.
That's
She posted
interesting.
it.
Yeah, I
I
don't
know.
think I've ever heard him speak before. I don't like Redfin. Probably wouldn't like the dude, but he's very calming.
All right, let's listen to some more.
And are we back to that normalcy, or are we getting close?
We are, but it's just such a wild ride to get there. So you've got 15 to 25% of the homes under contract being canceled in the past month. 62% of Boise homes.
Now, this is interesting. He brings up that stat that we talked
his
about
number.
last week.
That's his number.
Yeah. It's the
No
Redfin.
one
Well,
else-
I mean, they do a bunch of research, so I'm going to give them that. Like they can mine.
Well, they have a
data
lot
in
of
the
data.
MLS. Yeah, because they're open everywhere, so they get all the MLS data and they mine it and they interpret it. And he uses that number, the 15%. But what he leaves out is that was kind of a return to the normal amount of cancellations that we've had. That's not
And
that
wasn't
far
that-
off of what
wait.
normal cancellations have been.
He says 15%. Wasn't that a way bigger number when we reported it? Wasn't it 30 or 40 or something?
No, so there was 60,000 homes. There were 60,000 homes that canceled, but it was only 15%.
That was the number, not the percentage. Okay.
Right. I'm hearing an echo somewhere. I don't know where. Anyway. All right. So let's go back to this. He could moderate his comment here and say, well, yes, but it's not really that much of a, but let's keep going. It wouldn't be incendiary if he did that.
Have dropped their price. More than half have done so in Salt Lake City and Denver.
What percent? Wait,
of Boise homes in the past month.
hang on.
62% of
Okay.
Boise homes have dropped their price. More than
62.
half have done so in Salt Lake City and Denver. So I don't think it's going to be a smooth landing. It's going to be a very bumpy landing.
Okay. So he's saying that there have been a ton of price drops, right? So half of the homes in Denver, he's saying 62% of the homes in Boise. We know from Salt Lake and our discussion there that 40% of the homes in Salt Lake have had a price decrease.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say this is probably a lot of sellers that had aspirational sales prices? I mean, that's what we've said in the past. They were like trying to shoot for the moon, realizing they can't get it, so they're going to adjust price pretty quickly. And I think they're seeing the trend line.
It's interesting that he brings up Boise specifically, because I know a lot of people that have sold here from Southern California during the mass exodus and gone to Boise. So they're taking all that California money and spending it there. So I think that leads to exactly what you just said, Ray. They had the aspirational prices, which were, I don't want to say fine, but they were getting those asking prices for a year and a half, 2 years. And now they're still trying to get those but no one actually wanted to go live there. They were like, dude, I can go. I can.
No one actually. There are people. There's some that
The
wanted.
climate is about the same, but I get a little bit of snow, and
It's cheaper, man.
kind of like California, but I can go buy something for half the price here. I'm going to go spend my money there, but people weren't going to stay there. Like, I mean, there's going to be a mass exodus from Boise here really soon. I think we're on the precipice. I mean, I'm half joking, but my point is, a market like that, which was being pumped up by, the sales here, it's not going to stay up. If the sales here don't stay up, they're not going to stay up there, right? So I think you're right, Ray. It's that aspirational price. So
Dusty Martin has a comment on this. She says, say it with me.
Yeah.
Those homes were overpriced. That's what she says.
Yeah.
Melissa Mara says, why is it always Redfin that gets the stat? They get the stats from? Because Redfin's the only one putting it out there. Honestly, there's not a lot of people mining the MLS data, unfortunately, to provide this information. So they're one that does. It's kind of their shtick.
Is that where they're actually getting it from? Because they just kind of provide the numbers, but Zillow, when they provide numbers, it's their numbers, and you're like, well,
Zillow's from their website. I think
from their website.
Redfin is being a broker. Well, now Zillow also is a broker, so maybe they're pulling it from the MLS. But I think they're trying to get it from the MLS.
But as we discussed last week, it can't be super accurate with those price drops or those cancellations, because there's not really like a this buyer canceled because the house was overpriced button. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just went back on the MLS, but then another buyer jumps in, or sometimes you just put it right back into escrow with a backup offer or whatever. But I don't know how they did that search to get very exact concrete data to say 15.6% or whatever he said.
60,000 homes canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how they get that.
Were they buyers that canceled or sellers that canceled? We don't know.
Yeah. Because I can look up expireds, and I can look up, recent expires and recent cancellations, but I can't tell why, in our MLS.
I'm going to play him again.
Yeah, well, you mentioned three very hot or previously very hot markets. I would assume where price appreciation over the last 2 years has been substantial. Is that your expectation in other markets? I mean, is it, to be
the same thing going to happen everywhere?
And we're looking at them now, that some of these incredibly hot places are simply cooling off, but are ending at a far higher level than they were even a year ago?
Absolutely. So
it says on the screen, people are still relocating at record levels to Miami, Tampa, and Phoenix. However, over 50% of home sellers dropped asking price in June in Boise, Denver, Salt Lake City. That's what it says on the screen as we're going through here.
The markets that were the hottest have the furthest to fall. If you look at Austin, Texas, I think the compound annual price growth rate is negative 42%. That's extrapolating from just 1 month. So it gives you a wild number.
See what he said?
Compound annual price growth rate.
The compound annual price growth rate, right, is negative 41%. So basically, what most people watching this think is, wow, home prices have dropped 41%. No,
but is negative 42%. That's extrapolating from just 1 month. So it gives you a wild number.
Whoa. Maybe just not use that number. That's extrapolating data from 1 month, so it's a wild number. Okay.
I don't actually expect home prices to fall that much, but it's still a doozy to see that much loss in 1 month. So for people who
is it loss though?
It's a loss of gain. It's what it is. It's like home price gain slow. That's what he's saying.
Right. It's a loss of gain. So I'm not going to gain 20%. I'm going to gain 12.
The gains are 41% less than they were last year is basically what he's saying.
Right. But the key word is gain. It's still a gain.
That's what it sounds like to me, unless I'm stupid.
The housing market being really stable, a good place to put your money. This is a real bumpy ride. Mostly we see this kind of volatility in the stock market, even in the bond market. But
okay, so that's pretty much the whole interview. Then they ask him about like, hey, why are you firing a bunch of people? And he was like, oh no, I think we're at the right levels now. But it's an interesting interview. I like to listen to what the CEOs say of all these real estate companies because we're in the real estate business and this is the industry we are in. So listening to them and knowing what they're thinking about and what they're saying and what they're trying to put out in front of shareholders should give you some kind of indication of where they're going. And then maybe you can use that information to your advantage. But in this case, I would say the main story is there's 50% price drops in some major markets, and yet those markets are still continuing to grow like crazy. So apparently, whenever you use sold data from 3 or 4 months ago, that people were fighting for those properties and going $100,000 over list, if you're looking at those as sold data, then those gains are already built in to your comparative market analysis that you're creating today.
Right.
So you can't expect those gains again. And that's what's happening. And people are expecting those gains again. They're not getting it. So they're having to moderate their price a little bit.
Well, and doesn't it kind of take, like, for the crazy roller coaster we've been on, it's essentially, in my opinion, it's like we've been going up the roller coaster the last 2 years. Like, it's just tick, 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 tick. Like, doesn't it take kind of a drastic downward plunge to kind of catch back up? Like, these numbers have to be drastic because they were so drastic on the way up. They have to kind of adjust the other way. But it's just interesting. And I always think, and I do think the same about CEOs, because they are forward predicting. They want to keep their shareholders happy.
Supposed to be visionary. Yeah.
Yeah. Visionary. They want to see the future and what we're supposed to do. And they got to try to predict things to keep their company. But it's interesting that he kind of glazes over the fact that they let a lot of people go. But the other thing I always wonder is what's in it for them? Why are they pushing this number out there? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to say? Because we've all learned that, the Twitter and these types of videos on news outlets and Facebook, these kinds of posts kind of affect things as much as a news cycle can. So I'm always curious what's behind it for them. What's in it for them?
Yeah. With them. Speaking of depression, let's talk about home builders. I'll try to read it. I think my cough has subsided. Home builder sentiment plunges in July as buyers pull back. Confidence among builders in the nation's single-family housing market fell in July to the lowest level since the start of the pandemic. The National Association of Home Builders Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, they should probably add a couple more companies to that. It's not long enough. Yeah. A survey designed to gauge market conditions found that builder sentiment dropped 12 points to 55.
Ooh.
That marked the single largest month drop in the survey's 37-year history, with the exception of April 2020. And that was right when the pandemic happened. It plummeted 42 points to 30 after the start of the pandemic.
And then went up very quickly. But I think that's the lowest, other than the 30 because of the Rona. I think that's the lowest we've ever. Wasn't it
on
61
our show
or something, the lowest on the show?
Yeah, it was like 60s.
Yeah.
It says any rating above 50 is positive still, so it's still positive.
Yeah.
But it has fallen 24 points since March. That's a pretty big drop there. Let's see. Sentiment stood at 80 in July of last year after hitting a record high of 90 in November of 2020. Of the index components, this is what I wanted to get to. Which parts of the sentiment index did it drop?
Yeah.
Current sales conditions dropped 12 points to 64, so it's still a positive outlook on sales. While sales expectations for the next 6 months fell 11 points to 50. So, it's right in the middle.
That's normal.
Sentiment about buyer traffic declined 11 points to 37.
Dude, I don't remember it being at 48.
Which part?
The last one, buyer traffic. I thought we reported on it in the 60s or something.
We haven't reported the breakdown of the buyer traffic in a while, but the interesting part of that to me is that maybe they are looking at, maybe it's just what they've expected and they're so used to it that they see a decrease in buyer traffic, but they forgot what it was like when times were great in, early 2019 and late 2019. Everything was fine and everything was wonderful and their sentiment index was still really high and the buyer traffic was about what it is today, maybe, and it was normal. So now they're used to like people lining up to get in their house and they don't see that anymore. So, oh my goodness, It's terrible. So this is all based on their outlook. This is not based on numbers. This is their sentiment. This is not their data.
Yeah, it's not data. And it's a feeling based thing, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, James Waba on Clubhouse says, I wish there was a sentiment button that buyers and sellers had to push whenever they did things.
So there's a couple of things I log on to get news. and it asked me my sentiment. It's like it says, as a realtor, what's your sentiment, positive, negative? And there'll be a couple of questions on there I got to answer. But it's a news outlet. That's their way of doing a survey. Because I'm logged in, they know that I'm a realtor, and they use that in their survey.
They know all your data. Yeah.
I
mean, so is this we can only go up from here scenario, or is it going to keep going down? As you know, are materials going to still be harder to get? Is labor still going to be hard to come by? Because right now, in my opinion, if you're a buyer, especially around me, and I bring it up all the time. Excuse me, now I'm having the vocal issues. But we have Melrose and we have, special assessments and HOAs and stuff. But right now, I'm getting a lot of emails from new construction that's saying, hey, we're giving extra bonuses to the buyer's agents. We're offering $5,000 back, or you get to pick your countertops or whatever to your buyers. Like, I'm getting a lot of those incentives now. So in my opinion,
maybe a negative builder sentiment is going to be good for realtors. You're right.
I'm just saying, like, I'm getting a lot of, hey, because I wasn't getting anything for a couple of years. It was just, they were selling everything they could. Now they can't sell anything. Now new home construction is sitting right now, for us anyway.
Yeah.
So
let's see. I have a hard out coming up in about 5 to 7 minutes. So we got 2 more stories to cover. We're going to go through there pretty quickly. So this next one is from Magazine Realtors. It's about Lawrence Yun. He says that bolder Fed inflation policy may catapult mortgage rates. I love the stock image on this. It's pretty funny. It's a stretched $100 bill with a person in it that's being slingshot. It's like the cannonball guy.
If you notice, he's got a little helmet on, like an old-timey helmet, and oldtimey goggles on, like he's getting ready to launch in a World War II plane.
It's pretty funny. So this is a quote. Awesome. This is a quote from Lawrence Yun, chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. The Fed may be forced to raise interest rates even more aggressively than planned, even with the rising possibility of a recession on the horizon. The mortgage market had already factored in several additional rounds of the Fed hikes, but it may have to adjust a bit higher based on today's uncomfortable inflation rate. It could be a major blow to aspiring home buyers, basically saying that this additional cost is going to could take them out of the picture, plus the additional increase in price for the money. Let's see, the homeowners who locked in low interest rates in the prior 2 years have fixed non-rising monthly mortgage payments. That's a different story for renters. Rents rose 6% from last year and a rising 10% annualized rate. Rents will continue to rise in the coming years.
Okay, so I saw a friend posted this. Shouldn't that push more? Because what is the sentiment? Okay, so a 6% interest rate is still better than 100% of someone else's mortgage, right?
Yeah. If you can qualify for what you're looking for.
And I had this conversation yesterday with a buyer, and he said, well, is now a good time to buy? And I said, well, the main thing you got to watch right now is interest rates. They may go down a little bit, but they're most likely going to keep creeping up. And literally everyone I've ever talked to in my entire career, which is 10 plus years, there's always been man, I wish I would have bought 2 months ago. It's always that way. So, and maybe that's because I'm in California, but now with this news, if things end up at 6.5% and right now they're at 5.75%, I mean, you would look back and go, dang, that cost me $80 a month or whatever it is,
Yeah, but so not only would it cost you $80 a month, but also the house is going to be about 6 to 10% higher next year. So the home price itself is going to be up, and your affordability is going to be lower because of inflation. It's going to keep things rising. So unless you change some major buying and spending habits, consumption habits, then everything's going to be more expensive. So you might as well buy now.
Yeah. And remember, and I forget who it was. I think her last name was, she watches this on here. I can never remember her last name. I think it's Booslinger, Booslinger. And it was a great post. And it was, I think Kevin from Home Alone saying, no, I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to be around any of you. And then she had the stat there, 6% is better of your own mortgage is better than 100% of someone else's. It's a great video.
All right, let's talk about the cyber attack.
Are you too technologically driven, Ray? And now you're going to be vulnerable to cyber hacks?
I think it's probably those that are not technologically driven enough that are
Oh, it's
vulnerable.
the other way. Okay, so I'm good. All right.
We have to play scary incendiary music. Your
Could land you in
vulnerability to
court.
a cyber attack could land you in court.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's the title of the article. Now, this is from magazine.realtor. You're putting your livelihood at risk if you're asleep at the wheel when it comes to creating data security plan. Now, this, I think this is a sponsored type article, but I did want to bring it up because we've talked about this and your risk as a real estate agent. So this is something that I think would also make good content for you guys. The quote is fraud, compliance, risk, and cyber attacks are increasing at an alarming rate, eating away profits across the U.S. Collectively, these issues create a threat loop, threat level midnight, which can quickly overwhelm companies with economic loss, regulatory loss, and reputation loss. Despite the potential for calamity, the majority of the U.S. companies are not ready to fight the threat loop. So they have a little video here that you can watch too. We're not going to watch it today, but it's just something that I saw that I thought, oh, okay, this is something that realtors can kind of make content in conjunction with that FBI article that we talked about with the increase in scams and how people can avoid those scams and what they should be thinking about or doing to avoid those. So I just wanted to mention it. It's not like a major news story, but it's good content.
Well, how many times a week do you see one of your friends get hacked and they start posting about crypto? It's like, oh, I'm so happy I invested in crypto. Now I have $10,000 in my bank account. I mean,
so while you're thinking about it, will y'all please go change your passwords?
Change your passwords and please don't make them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or your dog's name and then the year you were born or graduated high school. Change them to something that that no one can figure out. That's right. Mine is at this point, dude. I've been doing this kind of password protection stuff for, I don't know, since I used to make video games, when I started this 17 years ago. And my password at this point is so insane. I remember it, but it's so hard.
Insane. Let me try that one. It's
literally so insane. 221. Oh shoot.
So I have a human-based algorithm to keep up with my passwords. I don't know if it's still secure, but every time I punch it in something, they're like, oh, it's like 8 billion years to solve that one. But it's one of those where whatever website I'm on, I can figure out my password based on where I am. Yeah. But if you looked at my human-based algorithm, you would be like, that's dumb. Nobody can figure that out. But I can. So that's all that matters.
That's how it should be.
Let me check the comments real quick. Andy Rose, what's up, buddy? He said, wow, what a terrible Debbie Downer. Is he talking about Lawrence Yun?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to try something while we're live here. Do you mind if I do that?
No, I mean, not at all.
I just found a button that said overlay. I'm going to see if I can overlay our whole thumbnail here. What happens? Here we go. Test.
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Look, it just overlays it right on top of us.
There you go.
Huh.
And dude, we're actually on the right side, the correct sides.
Yeah. I focus on that stuff. That's interesting. So I can just do that.
Even if you wanted to be Thor, Ray, you couldn't because Thor's on the left.
This is good because I'm not having to share the preview, which sometimes closes. Yeah. This is what we've been degraded to.
That's what we've.
I'm going to create.
Give us views. Go subscribe. Make us stop doing this stuff. Come on. Subscribe.
I'm going to get some overlay stuff and see if we can get this much better. I was watching some other YouTubers that use StreamYard, and they're like, they're stepping up their game. So I think we're going to have to step up our game too. It'll be fun. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging in there with me while I was coughing like crazy. I'm so sorry about that, but I appreciate you guys sticking it out. Sticking it out. Sticking it out.
Sticking it out.
That doesn't sound.
Yeah.
Sticking with us. That's what I'm sticking. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll edit that. I'm not editing anything.
We don't edit anything.
Thank you guys for sticking with us for the whole show. If you have any comments on this, please drop them down there below in the YouTubers. But no, really, we thank you guys. Thanks for being at the new time. Next week, we'll be back at a regularly scheduled time, 12 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Dan time, 11 o'clock Mountain time, and then 12 o'clock. No, 1 o'clock on the East Coast.
Cheese toast, yeah.
Dan, why don't you tell everybody real quick where they can find you?
It's right down here. If you're listening, it's DLUDWIGROCKS. Go over on Instagram. And right now, you got to go watch my most recent reel.
His trending reel.
It's trending right now. It's literally trending in my world, which is, 250 likes is trending for me, so I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah, you can find me at Razorback. It's RAYZORBACK. And we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh, that's nice.
Isn't it nice?